Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hey, it's producer Ash Durbin. When I found out that the U Street building that houses Hana Market was for sale, I got pretty nervous, like a lot of Japanese food and snack lovers in the area. It's a tale as old as time. Real estate fluctuates, buildings sell, and before you know it, your favorite corner store or coffee shop is gone. But not always. A group of neighbors on Capitol Hill got together and bought their corner store, Mott's Market, to avoid losing that community space. Our host Bridget Todd sat down with Michael Skinner, one of the new owners, to see if cooperative ownership could be a way to keep our favorite spots in town. Today is Monday, July 22nd, and here's what DC is talking about.
Michael, so you are the president of Mott's Market, LLC, which is a Capitol Hill community group that raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to collectively buy the local corner store. So I want to kind of back up. How did you all get this together?
A lot of us in the neighborhood have lived in the neighborhood for quite a while, and Mott's Market had been this place that people could get the things that they needed. They always had whatever the last ingredient was that you were missing for dinner, they had it. You needed a bag of chips, you needed salsa, you needed ice cream, a bag of ice. Like it was very common for people to just be like, oh, no worries, I'll just run down to Mott's. And so it was also a place where we ran into each other, where people that you didn't regularly schedule dinner with, you got to run into them and find out how their kids are doing or what's happening in their lives. And so it was a big part of what made the community feel like a community. And it suddenly closed in the spring of 2022. We had like a week's notice that the building was going to be up for sale and the store was closing and they were closing up shop. And it was a big shock to our community. These spaces, when you talk about wanting to be in a walkable neighborhood, like these spaces are really important. And so we went from the like shock to anger to, hey, wait a second. I mean, how much could it possibly cost to buy the building? And then like we could find someone to run the market, and maybe there's an apartment on top, we could rent that out. I mean, how hard could that be?
Well, that's a great question. Like, how much did you raise to make this happen?
To date, we have raised over $1.1 million for this project. And that's all volunteers, people who are not expert fundraisers, just a big number of people that care about having this kind of space available in our community.
Well, the fact that you were able to raise that amount of money from just folks in the community, and how this was a place where like you would really see each other and check in on each other's families. I mean, I think we throw around the word community a lot, but it truly does sound like this was a community space.
Yes. And the goal has become to make it even more of a community space. One of the things after we purchased the building, we needed to do significant renovations. And so we knew we weren't going to be opening the market anytime soon. We had more fundraising to do and then getting permits and all of that stuff. So we started holding monthly events at the market to keep people connected, to let people feel that connection that the market held. And those events have become this whole separate movement within the neighborhood that people seem to really enjoy. People come from all across the hill to do these things. That people will see it on Instagram and come from across the river. People seem to really enjoy being with other people in their community that they aren't already friends with. And so the new vision for the market will be to have all the things that the old market had in terms of the items that you need, the basic things. You know, when you need toilet paper, you need toilet paper. You don't need fancy toilet paper, you just need toilet paper. To have all of those things, but then also have space in the front, a big patio in the back, a back porch with lots of room for people to sit at chairs and tables to be able to hang out with each other. And so I think we're going to be able to carry forward this tradition of having community events into the new space. The management of the new space will have their own ideas about things that they want to do, but we'll be able to continue to have community-wide events in and around the space, which we're really excited about.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast. The best way to learn a language is immersion, living where the language is spoken and using it every day. That's how I learned French as a kid. But if that's not in the cards for you this year, you can still learn a language the second best way, and that's with Babbel. I live in a city with a huge immigrant population. You probably do too. And in my hometown, a lot of my new neighbors speak Spanish as a first language, and we have lots of great Mexican and Central American and South American restaurants and stores. I wanted to be able to communicate just a little bit better with some of my neighbors. So I started with Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that actually works. And after just a few extremely enjoyable weeks learning Spanish with Babbel, I've already gotten comfortable ordering at a restaurant and eavesdropping on my girlfriend's conversations with her mom. Look, learning a language isn't always easy, but with Babbel it is fun and it feels useful, basically immediately. That's why Babbel has over 16 million subscriptions sold. Plus, all of Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Here's a special limited-time deal for CityCast listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
By far the worst part of my morning routine is having to wade through all of the spam in my email inbox. And spam starts with your personal data being sold. Every day, data brokers collect and sell your personal information to third parties. Things like your social security number, your address, phone numbers, even health and financial records. And then scammers, total strangers, businesses, and even the government can use that information to target you. Unless you've got Incogni. INCOGNI. It's this program that totally scrubs your personal information from the web. It only takes 3 minutes to set up, and once it's up and running, Incogni tackles more than 180 data brokers and people search sites. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. I love a money-back guarantee. Make your mornings spam-free. Get Incogni today. And actually, there's a special code only for CityCast listeners to get 55% off the annual plan. Just go to incogni.com, INCOGNI.com, and use the code CityCast for, again, 55% off. Once again, that's INCOGNI.com, code CityCast.
So earlier, you had laid out this really attractive sounding vision of community coming together to buy the space. And I got to tell you, I have been part of a cooperative business group in my day. And sometimes it sounds great, but sometimes making decisions collectively can be a little bit complicated. How has the wider community been responding to this movement? Like, especially folks who have been there for a while?
It has been really overwhelmingly positive. At the community events that we've had, some of them we've had over 500 people attend. I think our most popular has been, we do a wine and arts night where local artists show their work for sale, and then we do a wine tasting. And hundreds of people come to listen to live music and look at art and taste wine, and it's free. Anyone in the community can come. So people bring their children and talking about art and showing them that and listening to music. And I've had people who just moved to the neighborhood and didn't know what Mott's Market was ask to be investors because they liked the idea of this being in their community, and they thought that it would be a way to get to know interesting people in the neighborhood. I've also had people who have lived in the neighborhood for decades come up and say, when are you going to open again? This is where I come to shop during the week. We've had families that have had houses in the neighborhood since the 1920s and have now passed them on to their children or nieces or nephews. Very excited because Mott's was a part of their growing up. And so it's been really exciting to to see a community gel around an idea like this.
Have you heard from other folks wanting advice on how they can maybe replicate this in their own communities?
We have. As word has gotten out about this project, people have started to look at it as a potential model for what they might be able to do in their own neighborhood. There are spaces that have been closed that are vacant, or spaces that are in danger of closing. And one of the things that we've realized through this is that the real estate market can sometimes force people to try to maximize the amount of rent they get out of a space. And that might price markets like this out of the possibility. And so if communities get together and purchase these spaces, they can afford to not make the maximum amount of money possible. I'm not talking about taking a loss or necessarily making it a charitable operation, but you can afford to operate the building in a way that allows for local owners to continue to run these markets that are so important. And I think that this is a model that could work. You can spread the risk around to a lot of people. You can draw on the resources that are in your community. And if you start asking around, you'll discover that people have the experiences that, or are willing to research the kinds of things that you need to make something like this happen.
Listening to you describe the way that this store has been a staple in generations of families and communities, I wonder, what do you think we lose when these community mainstays leave and they get taken over by chains or big business? Like, what do we lose as a community, as a city, when that happens?
Corner stores play an incredibly important role in the life of a neighborhood. They are places where people run into each other. They are the places where people get out of their bubbles. It's very easy to go to work or work remotely from your living room and then come home, or you just stay home and never have to talk to anybody and never have a chance to meet anybody. And so these corner markets were not only a place that was convenient, especially for people with mobility issues, but they were the places where connections were made. And our goal with the new Mott's Market will be to have a place where there's physically more space for connections to be made. And local establishments like this create the opportunity for that third space. And so as we lose these small shops, small locally owned shops, we're losing part of the identity of each little neighborhood.
I'm sold. When can I come in and shop? When are y'all opening?
We are trying to get through the last hoops this summer and hope to be open by the end of August, early September. It's coming up fast, but we're working really hard to try to get open.
Michael, I'm so pleased with what you're doing. I will see you at Mott's real soon.
Excellent. Come on by. Let's get a coffee.
That's all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, get your neighbors together and buy us a building. You can rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.